Hello and welcome to Game Changer. My name is Daniel Connor. I'm the owner of Connor's Coaching, and Game Changer is brought to us by Connor's Coaching to inspire community with topics about positivity, neuroscience, coaching, personal development, mindset, emotional intelligence, and leadership and development, and so much more. We go live every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. with Pacific Standard Time, and we bring guests every other Wednesday on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. And the whole goal here is to just get inspired and to show you authentically who we are. Um, so again, my name is Daniel Connor. I'm the owner of Connor's Coaching, and I'm a certified professional coach. I'm a proud member of the International Coaching Federation, and that means that I hold myself to a very high standard of ethics with regards to coaching. And people hire me when they're ready to get unstuck, when they're ready for that change in their life that they're pursuing, like that they're going to retire or they're looking for a new step in their career, that they want a fulfilling and happier and more exciting life, that they want to boost their leadership potential. And today, we're going to be talking about fulfillment. We're going to be talking about specifically a concept of fulfillment or a philosophy of fulfillment called Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy of fulfillment that comes from four different aspects of your life kind of merging together into one. Um, or another way of looking at it is four areas of your life overlapping to identify your purpose for being here on this planet. And by living in that purpose, you find fulfillment in your life. So, this isn't a recipe or a one size fits all system. It's not a go out and get a doctor degree and you're going to be fulfilled. It's going to be different for each person because it is uniquely tailored to each person. So we're going to talk about the four corners of Ikigai. We're going to talk about the four corners of Ikigai and how they overlap with each other in the circle. And we're going to talk about balance between them and the importance of balance between them. Because chances are you have two out of four of these covered in your life. You probably have something that pays you money, and you probably have something that you're decent at, right? And if that's the case, then you have a profession. But you might be missing out on the other side of the Ikigai, which would be your mission. That would be how you connect to the world around you in terms of feeling like the planet needs you, like you're giving back to the world, and like you love what you're doing, like you feel joy and you find flow whenever you are engrossed in that activity. So let's look at the four pillars of Ikigai. We're going to start with flow. So when we're talking about Ikigai, um, these are obviously Japanese concepts, not Western concepts, and I do not want to misappropriate cultures here. We're going to be talking about how I use this as a coach with my clients. Okay. So when we talk about this area, flow, we're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about things that you enjoy doing, things that you love doing, things that you're passionate about doing, things that bring you flow or into a flow state, things that time seems to fly by when you're doing them. Like, let's say in school, I really enjoyed math. Go figure. I don't know why, but math seemed to be an easier subject for me. So I could get into a flow state doing mathematical work more than other types of work, right? So math would be one of those things in that list of flow for me. And when I do this, I abbreviate it. So with this area, we have joy, we have passion, we have love. I'm going to call it flow. Okay. So this circle up here, the top, is flow. Okay. The north circle. And each of these circles is basically an encompassing of everything about that area in your life. So when you're taking stock of how Ikigai is represented in your life, you would look at everything in your life that brings you joy, that you feel passionate about, that you can get into a flow state around, and you would list all of that out. That would be everything that fits within that circle. Okay. And then we're going to examine how they overlap with the other circles. And that's going to help inform you what your ikigai, or your center, your purpose of being, is, how they all four overlap together. So the next circle, the east circle, east would be this side for you, I guess. The east circle is what is needed in the world. What do people need that you are uniquely qualified to give, that you are interested in providing? Things like environmentalism, an interest in taking care of children, an interest in giving back to the elderly, in caring for adults, in feeding people nourishing food, in providing good customer service, in making sure that people have access to good technology. There's ways to shape this section so that you can find this needed feeling in whatever work is being done. We need every single person on this planet, and we need every job on this planet, from the service in a restaurant, a server, all the way to the president. Like, every position in this planet has a purpose, has a value, has something that it's providing. What is it that you specifically provide, that you are providing, that is needed to other people, right? And so then again, we're going to create a list of everything that fits in that circle of what is needed in your life. Now, we just did the flow, right? And we just did what was needed. Those two circles overlap in this area right here, right? And in this area right here, you have your mission. This would be the save the planet, going vegan, helping the elderly. These would be the things that you are driven to do because it is your mission in life. Okay? So, when we're looking at these overlap sections, these can be areas where you have these things, but you're missing others, right? So they're kind of a good way of looking at Ikigai in terms of what's missing, right? So if you're missing your passion, what you want to focus on would be your flow and what is needed. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let's keep going. Let's examine the southern circle. So the southern circle is, what can you get paid for? What is it that you can do that's going to earn you money? And oftentimes this overlaps with what's needed, because oftentimes we pay for what's needed. Sometimes it's not necessarily the case, because we don't necessarily pay environmental activists, right? Like, they get paid by their organizations, but I wouldn't go out and just pay an environmental activist just for being an environmental activist. Maybe I should. But what is it that you do that you get paid for? What is it that you can do that you get paid for? Like, I can do data entry. I could get paid for being a data entry person. I'm a coach. I get paid to coach people. I get paid to help people hold themselves accountable for the actions that they want to take, and to help them find a better life for themselves. So when we're looking at this pay area, it overlaps specifically with the eastern quadrant, right? And where that overlaps, that is your profession. That is what is needed and what you get paid for, right? That makes sense, right? That is going into your job. They need you, and you get paid to do that work. If you're lacking in that because you don't have a job right now, That's what's missing in your life. So you would want to focus on those two circles. The Western circle, the which I'm so confused on directions now. So the Western circle, the other side of the Ikigai is your talent. This would be, what are you good at? What is it that you are uniquely talented at? What is it that you've learned how to do over time that maybe you couldn't do at first, but then you gain skill and mastery over time? Are you good at public speaking? Are you good at are you good with children? I am not good with children. I mean, I am okay with children, but they terrify me. So some fear around that, right? So with this area, talent overlaps with both the passion and the flow. And where it overlaps with your being paid with money, that is your vocation. That's your kind of calling. That would be what you're good at that you also get paid for, right? So this would be where you have highly skilled individuals who get paid for what they are highly skilled at. This would be carpenters. This would be electricians. This would be doctors. This would be mathematicians. This would be school teachers, right? They're highly trained. They're educated to do that work. Hopefully, they're also passionate about it. Hopefully, they're also um, driven or see the need for that work, and that need is part of their calling, right? So if that's the case, then they have the full range of Ikigai. The other place that the talent is overlapping is with flow, and where those two intersect, that's passion. That is the driving factor. You're good at it and you love to do it. It is more than a hobby. You would be doing it even if someone didn't pay you. So again, the corners where they overlap, right? The corners where they overlap, you have passion, that would be your flow and your talent combined. You have your mission, and that is your flow and what is needed in life, right? So those are the things that overlap with flow. You have your vocation on this side and your profession on this side. Vocation would be what you are trained in, what you're good at, um, what you feel good at, what you feel talented at, yes, and what you get paid for. And your profession is what is needed that you get paid for. Okay? When you look at your life, I want you to think about which of those four corners is most missing in your life. And that will help you identify which of those circles to focus on. And when you figure out what those circles are, start making a list. Journaling is my absolute favorite tactic. And if you watch this channel, you're going to hear me talk about journaling all the time because it is my go-to tool as a coach. Most of my clients, when they start journaling, have major breakthroughs. Just going to be honest with you. I will work with people who don't want to journal, but I can tell you that if you do journal, you're going to have faster breakthroughs. And when we journal around Ikigai, we pick one of these areas, like let's say flow. Flow is missing. I don't feel joy. I don't feel passion. I feel disjointed, and I have a hard time focusing on work. That would indicate that flow is missing, right? So when we're looking at that, we meditate on that topic. We meditate on what flow would look like for you. When have you experienced flow in the past? What aspects of your job are enjoyable? What specific tasks in school did you enjoy? What do you enjoy to do in your own life outside of work? So when we're looking at Ikigai, here is my overall Ikigai strategy. We start with free writing, either through journaling or just as an activity. For each category, write out at least 10 items that fit each broad circle: flow, needed, pay, talent. Okay? Um, Figure out what it is that you love that brings you flow or joy, what the world needs that you can provide, what you get paid for, what you feel good at that you're also working towards getting better at. Okay? And then look for overlaps between those lists. Look for overlaps between what is flow and what is needed. Those would be your mission. Okay? Look for overlaps between what's needed and what you can get paid for. That's your profession, right? And then look for overlaps between all four or ways to connect them. Maybe your calling is being a teacher because you love working with kids, they bring you joy, you feel like educating children is necessary, you can get paid to do it because people do, and it's something that you can get skilled at and get better at over time and master. When you find your Ikigai, it's important to remember that you as an individual can change over time, and so can your Ikigai. I don't know that that's part of the original philosophy, but that's part of my philosophy. No one is static. No one lives in a bubble. No one is stuck in one spot for their entire life. You change. So it is entirely possible that you lose your passion or your profession or your mission in life, or you get lost, or it no longer speaks to you, or your values change, or the world no longer needs that service. Um, my father-in-law is dating a woman who was a librarian, and she specifically was a librarian for patents. um her patent um work was like a physical library where legal professionals would go to look up patents. That's no longer necessary because everyone has access to the internet and all of that information is now available online. So that took the needed aspect away from her profession. She's retired now, so it's less of a problem. But that's an example of how the world changes around us and how we also have to adapt and how our Ikigai can change over time. What I want to encourage everyone to do is to really look at their life and make sure that they are fulfilled with purpose, that they're fulfilled with joy, that they're fulfilled with money, right? And not because money is a glorious thing or anything, it's highly overrated, but it does help you survive, right? And it brings you comfort and it brings you security and it brings you the things that will it will prevent the things that prevent happiness, right? It prevents starvation, it prevents homelessness, it prevents all of these other things that are undesirable. But money itself doesn't bring happiness. That's an illusion for the most part, right? And I want everyone to find what their Ikigai is so that they can live a more purposeful and happy life. And if you need help or assistance in looking at your Ikigai, there's plenty of videos on the internet about this topic, about finding your Ikigai. I have a very uniquely Western approach to looking at it. There are a lot of traditional approaches as well out there. You can also hire a coach to work with you on your Ikigai. And either way, I wish everyone to find their passion, their purpose, and their purpose of being on this earth. Um, Thank you so much for being here with me today. And since you stuck around for the video today, I would really appreciate it if you would log into YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that like button and the bell notification if you want to get notified when I post a new video. Um, those activities really help the algorithm for our channel to grow over time. Also, another thing that could really help us is to post a comment, especially with what would be inspiring for you today. Or you could also tell me a little bit about your Ikigai. What do you think your passion, what your purpose, what your vocation, um, what your profession is? And next week, make sure you tune in because we have a guest and she's returning. She's going to be talking to us about navigating and dealing with those holiday feelings. We're sometimes surrounded by family, we have difficult feelings, maybe we're missing someone in our life. And there can also be a large feeling of guilt, like we're supposed to be something that we're not around family. Um, so she's going to be talking about that, and we can't wait to talk to her again. We're so grateful that she's returning.